Hi, and welcome back to Making Space to Make. Last week, we talked about understanding your actual sewing practice. This week, I want to spend a little bit of time defining organized enough. Whether you're someone who tends to over-organize or you're starting from complete chaos and maybe wondering how much organization you really need, this week is all about finding your sweet spot. Some people get stuck in what I call an organizational loop, constantly tweaking systems, looking for the perfect solution, but not actually sewing. I catch myself falling into this trap all the time. But just as many people are coming from the other direction. Maybe your space is complete chaos and you're thinking you need to organize everything perfectly before you can sew. Or maybe you feel guilty that your space doesn't look like the organized studios you see online. The truth is, both extremes keep you from sewing. Over-organizing becomes the hobby instead of sewing, but feeling overwhelmed by the mess can also keep you from starting. So what's the answer? Finding you're organized enough. So what does organized enough mean? It means that the system works for you and doesn't prevent you from creating. Whether you're organizing up from chaos or organizing down from perfectionism, we're looking for the same sweet spot, functional enough to support your sewing without the organization itself becoming a barrier. It doesn't have to look perfect or be in matching bins. It just has to work well enough that you can find what you need and get to sewing. So here's the key. There is a point where you reach diminishing returns. If you're spending more time maintaining organization than actually sewing, that is too much. But if you're spending all your sewing time searching for things and feeling frustrated, you probably need more. Our goal here is finding the middle ground. Let me give you a couple of examples from my own sewing space. I have my fabric in this little closet off my sewing room. The scraps are organized by type into clear bins, while my fabric is folded onto the shelves. This works fine for me because I don't have a large stash and I generally remember what I own. If I happen to forget, I can easily look at my yardage, and the scrap bins are clear enough that I can just peek through the side at what's in there. For someone with a much larger stash, this might not work. They might need more organization to remember what's there, but for me, this is organized enough. I keep my loose circular and double-pointed needles in this little bin. Of course, it would be fun to own a beautiful needle binder someday, but for me, this works just fine. One of the most important things for my brain is creating a space where items live and putting them there every single time. This bin is where my needles live, and that's organized enough. The key question to ask yourself here is, does this system help me sew, or does maintaining it take time away from sewing? So, how do you know when to stop? Some key signs that you've reached organized enough are: you can find what you need when you need it. Maintenance doesn't take more time than creating. You're actually using the space to sew, not just organizing it. And the system works for your actual habits. If you're hitting these points, you can probably stop and move on. You'll know you need to keep working when you're avoiding sewing because you can't find things. You're constantly searching and feeling frustrated. You forget what you own and buy duplicates, or the mess itself is preventing you from creating. These are real barriers worth addressing during this series. All right, so this week's assignment, start thinking about what organized enough means to you. I want you to ask yourself, what's actually preventing me from sewing? What organizational tasks might be busy work? And what systems are working well enough to leave alone? Make some notes to keep in mind as we move through this series. This framework will help you know when to stop and move on. Remember, the goal is sewing more, not having a perfect space. And the perfect space is one where you sew more. So next week, we'll be doing a project assessment, looking at what's in progress and what's worth finishing. This will help us identify an easy win for week 4 to get a little momentum going. So what does organized enough mean to you? Leave me a comment and I'll see you next Friday. Bye-bye.